Hey there. Good to see you. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me. In today's video, we're talking about mudfloods, Tartaria, and past resets. Most of us are quite familiar with these topics, and the general idea is in the not so recent past, a great, more advanced civilization than our own was abandoned after mudfloods or some kind of cataclysm, and thus the so-called parasitic forces were introduced. There's a lot of speculation about what happened, but in this video we're going to be talking about why it happened from a cosmic perspective. This perspective has been left out of pretty much all talk about Tartaria. And before we dive into it, we must recognize that we can absolutely uncover wisdom right here, right now. We don't have to look into the past with bright eyes and with a sense of loss and think that that is where we find all of the secrets. Most people would agree that today's world is absolutely crazy, but we can con ourselves into thinking that all this current state offers is pain and deception. That couldn't be further from the truth. That being said, here's my take on Tartaria. Tartaria was the last great civilization rooted in the physical. It was very mighty in its physicality. I mean, look at all of those buildings, which still stand today. The lost ones which we see in recovered photographs. The statues which remain today, all purported to be a part of this great Tartarian civilization. It looks awesome. But the Tartarians destroyed themselves. They set off the mudfloods by energetically engaging in the very illusory constructs which we see very clearly right now. If you plug in illusion into the matrix, then the illusion will eventually come back to haunt you and make you ill. The mud flood occurred at the end of an age that needed to end, so we could raise from a state of relative comfort in the physical, in the mundane, and into an energetic purgatory. The earth reflects what needs to be seen to lift us out of illusion. And the energetic state of purgatory is where we have to finally confront that which does not eternally serve the heart and freedom. The so-called elite forces of the world literally materialized sometime near the end of this Tartarian age to reflect what does not serve freedom. This wasn't broadcasted, of course. It's not like we're aware in the moment when we're in the midst of reality testing us through upheaval. All of the destruction and suffering which has been felt and seen since the mud flood is not for nothing. It's been the greatest gift. Because now, in the 21st century, we are awakened to all that needs to be dissolved and let go of, inside of us and outside of us. It sounds paradoxical, but the heart opens up through our discontentment with reality. And since the hyper-physical state is not the true divine state, the divine homeland is not rooted in the mundane, in the carnal. Because of this, we are consistently shown not to get too comfortable with this place and its offerings. So this is one of the most important aspects of why Tartaria had to crumble. Now, Tartaria sounds like Tartarus, which is hell in the Greek mythology. All of human history is a journey from the pits of despair, hell, into purgatory, where we are now energetically, so we can finally enter back into paradise. And I'm not speaking of physical hells. I'm speaking of a collective inner condition which plays out and is reflected on the outside. So, I propose that in the hellish state, we don't suffer like the common stories suggest. The hellish state is simply being base in our perception. Like security, sexuality, survival, and when overstimulated collectively, we engage in, well, all that is rooted in what is solid, not anything which is etheric or that which is within. And this is what we see when we look at Tartaria with new eyes. Sure, the awesome buildings and statues are awesome. They're so ornate and secure in their disposition. But that's the problem. That's the illusion. It was time to let go of all of it. Everything occurs on this earth stage like clockwork. Nothing is just by chance. There is no such thing as an unlucky event that occurs and simply imprisons us as victims. And if we do suggest this, then we're really suggesting between our words that the divine is asleep. But no, the divine knows what it's doing in all moments, and especially in the moments which feel tethering, which feel suffocating. As souls, we are only ever receiving what we need to in order to elevate. And we elevate through the flames of purgatory. Tartaria was beautiful. Yes, it was. Absolutely. But the systems that seem to suck us dry right now, like government and banking, etc., these were started by the Tartarians. They weren't warped like they are now. They functioned quite well. But these very systems were just co-opted by externalized shadow forces, which gained temporary sentience. And these shadow forces, which we call the elite, they have to play out this charade. They have to play out this charade for us to see clearly. After all, isn't that how we are awakening? Through feeling the pressure? Like a diamond, right? The tighter the pressure, the more beautiful the outcome. So, that's my take on Tartaria. Everything is okay even when it's not okay. It's weird. It's just weird that spirituality has continuously tried to tell us that we should mimic some kind of enlightened or happy state. It's not about joy. It's not about happiness. It's about getting through that which does not allow us to genuinely feel joy. But joy is not the purpose. It is the result. It's not the intention, or it shouldn't be if we're real. The intention is to experience what needs to be experienced so we can finally re-enter paradise. All right, thank you.